Welcome to From the FOX61 Archives. I'm Matt Scott. Let's take you back to October 24th, 2011, 11 years ago. Now, those of us here in the Weather Center kept looking at the forecast models in October and shaking our heads. In October, the snow numbers the computer models were putting out, again, I'll say, in October, were coming together, and they were not looking good. By the end of the week, southern New England was hit by what came to be known as the Halloween snowstorm. Trees down, widespread power outages, in addition to a lot of snow, all adding up to a big mess. Here's a look back at the stories we aired in the days that followed.
The power of Mother Nature relentless and not letting up a deadly show of force this year.
This is going to be a long-term event. This has been an unbelievable storm causing unbelievable damage.
The governor warning of a daunting road ahead in the rush to restore power. At the height of the storm, 884,000 customers, mostly CL&P, in the dark and in the cold. Only 2 months after going through a similar saga from Tropical Storm Irene, weathered Connecticut residents and utility companies are on edge.
We got criticized for not having roads open sooner, so we learned from Irene. But once again, you look at this event, as I mentioned last night, the Department of Transportation estimates that the damage is 5 times more with this event.
Utility crews that took heat from customers for a prolonged response now say they're using lessons learned. Still, though, the road to restoration could take over a week.
We have, senior centers that don't have power. We know those things. Fire departments, police departments. So we're working closely with both the towns and the state to prioritize what are the critical clusters that need to be restored first.
North Central and Northwestern Connecticut hardest hit. Schools are closed, gas stations are tapped out, and hundreds of trees are down. With Greater New Haven almost all restored, United Illuminating is sending help to CL&P. The National Guard also mobilizing with handing out food and water. Troops are on the ground helping clear hundreds of streets.
With the temperatures dipping, to freezing or below freezing at night, obviously there is that sense of urgency when we look at trying to clear those areas to get the utility vehicles there to restore power as fast as possible.
Anthony DiLorenzo, Fox Connecticut.
Scenes like this are all over central Connecticut.
But I've never seen anything like this in all the years that I've been here. I'm 61 years old, and let me tell you, it's trees are down everywhere. Wires are down everywhere.
Everywhere. This is what West Hartford woke to. A ride down Mountain Road details the devastation. More than 75% of the town is powerless from the historic storm.
Our neighborhood roads are virtually locked off due to down power lines, trees. I would estimate 90 to 100% of our tree issues are involved with wires.
The scenes like this are all over central Connecticut. It's a tug of war between Mother Nature and the neighborhoods. This is Old Oak Road in West Hartford. You've got power lines across the entire street, snapped utility poles, and devastated trees literally at every corner.
The town told us that we should expect to be out for 5 to 7 days.
Fallen lines flank Farmington Avenue. Early this morning, West Hartford Mayor Scott Slifka was out to survey what amounts to a tangled mess.
The roads, most of our arterial roads are plowed. Many roads are passable, but when you get there, there's trees down everywhere. You're swerving left and right. It is not a good idea to be out if you can at all avoid it. Certainly not walking around because the wires are down every place, and it's going to take CL&P a long time to get to them.
How long have you been mayor?
7 years.
Ever seen anything like
that?
Oh,
not even close, no. I mean, we thought the hurricane, which ended up being more of like an anticipated hurricane, was the biggest thing we've seen. I don't think anybody's seen anything like this.
In West Hartford, Jim Altman, Fox, Connecticut.
I have just signed a state of emergency order for the state, which gives us the powers to do those things that we might be called upon to do, given the extraordinary circumstances which we are now facing.
As the Constitution State continues to weather the merciless pounding from Mother Nature's snowy fist, crews are trying their hardest to keep up.
Travel is obviously dangerous. We would like people to stay off the roads as much as possible. The Merritt and Wilbur Cross parkways are closed to all non-emergency traffic, as they have been since approximately 3:30 today.
As the sun went down, so did the level of safety along Connecticut roadways. Interstates 84 and 91 barely visible as they're covered under a thick blanket of white. As of Saturday night, the storm claimed the life of one person through a car accident, and a separate incident left a state trooper injured.
Metro North is experiencing extensive delays, and a train service on the branch lines has been discontinued. Bus service in Danbury and Waterbury was suspended earlier today.
Bradley International Airport is still open at this hour, but delays are estimated to run between 3 and 4 hours for flights. The airport also played host to dozens of diverted flights from other airports around New England. But as the snow continues to fall, the bottom line from state officials is clear.
Have a Halloween party in your own house.
So as residents prepare for Halloween night, the governor has left it up to individuals and towns to decide whether or not to take part in the festivities. As you can see here along the shoreline, barely any remnants of this nor'easter. It's a whole different story when you head inland.
There are dangerous situations out there. We've asked mayors to make and first selectmen to make the calls in their own community.
To trick or treat or not? That is the question Connecticut's mayors and first selectmen have been asking throughout the day. Trees and down power lines remain scattered on the streets and sidewalks in many Connecticut towns, making conditions too unsafe for even the scariest little ghosts and goblins.
We still got a lot of wires down on the roads, and we don't want kids out on the streets. So we postponed it. It's going to be Saturday night for us this year.
Close to 100% of the town of Suffield is still without power. Trees that stood for hundreds of years along Main Street snapped in half. The challenge for Tom Frenay and municipal leaders across the state who are requesting trick-or-treaters to stay in is getting the info out to people with no power.
We sent a email out through the school's notification system. We put it on our website. But there's still a lot of people that don't have any way of getting information.
While the autumn nor'easter has left the northern and central part of the state looking like a war zone, along the shoreline, it's business as usual.
Halloween is open for business in East Haven.
East Haven Mayor April Capone was in the Halloween spirit. The town knows a thing or two about prolonged power outages and storm damage. Here on Cozy Beach, there isn't much snow to see. Making the decision to continue on with the festivities an easy one. However, the mayor tells people to use the right judgment if they decide to go door to door.
We're working hard to get all of the sidewalks cleared, but if you see an area where the sidewalk is not cleared, don't go down that street. If you see a street that doesn't have power, don't go to those houses.
So if you and your family, your children are going out for Halloween night, use common sense and be safe. From East Haven, George Colley, Fox, Connecticut.
We can all be skeptical. On the other hand, I would hope we're all hopeful.
Following a tour of storm-ravaged West Hartford, Governor Daniel Malloy came just short of questioning how CLNP will be able to meet their Sunday deadline to restore power to 99% of the state. He reiterated that the deadline was set by CLNP and he will hold their feet to the fire to meet it. The governor acknowledged that the more he sees, the worse things look.
I saw in the paper today an early estimate of $975 million. I think that's going to go up substantially as people understand how many houses have actually been damaged.
Mayor Scott Slifka says his problems start with the company and what he calls their total incompetence in handling the disaster. That includes a lack of accurate information from CLNP when communicating with towns.
The stuff that the media was being fed about the coordination was simply not true. The number of crews was simply not true.
Slifka has hired a private debris removal company. They are contracted through a FEMA grant, which creates other obstacles. According to the town's public works director, his crews must prove that everything picked up is actually from West Hartford.
Every cubic yard that comes into this location to ensure that it is West Hartford storm debris.
How much of a hassle is that?
A tremendous amount of hassle. Look, my trucks are sitting. We can't roll yet till we certify these trucks because of red tape.
For residents, the governor's drive-by today was appreciated, but their situation appears to be no closer to being resolved.
It was nice of him to make the effort to come to West Hartford to talk to the command center, to meet with our mayor, Scott Slifka, to see what we're doing. Obviously, he's very busy. The state's in a disaster. The more he gets out to the communities, in my opinion, the better.
George Colley, Fox, Connecticut.
I'm just trying to send a message out to CLMP that we can't take much more.
Scott Simmons had power restored to his Canton hair salon on Wednesday. He's grateful to be open for business, but he wants CLMP to pay for the time that was lost, and he and his attorney expect others to join them.
A lot of people think this is unfair. That's why we're bringing a class action lawsuit for all the people that have been aggrieved by the actions or lack of action thereof of Connecticut Light and Power.
Well, I know that I'm mad, and I've talked to many other business owners that are furious, and a lot of these people just can't take the hit.
The lawsuit, filed Friday, alleges that the power company was neglectful in their preparation prior to and their execution following the storm that, at its peak, left more than 800,000 people in the dark.
I just have no faith that they or the DPUC is going to do anything to protect the people.
So while Scott Simmons says he's had enough, there are businessmen here in Connecticut who say it's just not time yet to talk about lawsuits.
Let's wait and see. Let's get people safe, get their power back, restore it.
Dan Paulus runs a business out of his home in West Hartford. It's been a challenging week for him with no power and 3 active children. He got through it, though, by bringing his laptop to Panera's in West Hartford.
It was crazy that there wasn't one seat inside, so I ended up going outside, and there was a little outlet on the outside wall, plugged into that, and had the laptop on a USA Today paper stand, and it worked out, but it was crazy.
As for the class action suit, Jazz Lewicki says it's open to anyone who suffered losses from the storm. A dollar amount yet that you're seeking?
We're going to be seeking millions in reparations, if not billions.